Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Philly Phil. Thank you all so much for your support. All right, guys. So let me say shout out to the Michigan lady. She called. I didn't actually speak to her. I guess I was filming or something, but she left a message and she was telling me about this Kindle book that was on Amazon. It's called The Murdaugh Murders, Uncovering the Dark Underbelly of the Southern Elite Society. So I purchased it and I'm just going to read a couple of chapters and you guys let me know what you think. And if you like it, I will read the remainder of the chapters. But it's just an overview and a really good background of the Murdaugh family, all of the things they've been going through, the lies, the stealing, all of that stuff, the embezzlement. There's a lot that we don't know, guys. And there was a lot going on and what led Alex to do what he has been found guilty of. Now, this book was written prior to him being found guilty. So, we already know the outcome. But at the time that she wrote this book, we did not know the outcome. So let me get started with chapter 1. And I hope you guys enjoy. Please leave a comment in the comment section. All right, we're going to start with the introduction. On the evening of June 7th, 2021, a prominent South Carolina attorney named Alex Murdaugh called 911 to report that he had been shot on a remote rural road. This incident set off a chain of events that would reveal a web of corruption, deceit, and violence that had been festering for years within one of the state's most powerful families. For decades, the Murdaugh family had been a fixture in South Carolina's politics and law. Alex's grandfather, Randolph Murdaugh Sr., was a legendary prosecutor who had never lost a murder case in his long career. And we will say Merc for Murder, future reference, okay? His father, Randolph Jr., was a prominent attorney and state lawmaker, and Alex himself had followed in their footsteps, building a successful law practice and serving as a part-time prosecutor in several counties. But despite their reputation for upholding the law, the Murdaughs had long been accused of using their influence to protect themselves and their allies from prosecution, which is unfortunately sometimes is what happens when people have too much money and power. They become corrupt. Stories circulated about cover-ups, payoffs, and unsavory connections to the state's most notorious criminal organization. For years, these rumors were dismissed as baseless conspiracy theories, but in the aftermath of Alex's shooting, they began to take on new urgency. As investigators dug deeper into the Murdaugh family's history, they uncovered a litany of scandals, including embezzlement, drug trafficking, and even murk. Because as you know, Buster is under investigation. They're opening up a case, opening it back up, allegedly for an affair he had with some guy or something like that. That's alleged. I just read it somewhere, but we will look more into that. Let's continue reading. We're in chapter 1, the introduction. At the center of it all was Alex Murdaugh, a charismatic and ambitious lawyer whose life had been defined by privilege, power, and a deep sense of entitlement. As the investigation into his shooting unfolded, it became clear that his story was far more complex and far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. In this book, we will explore the events leading up to Alex Murdaugh's shooting, the shocking revelation that emerged in its aftermath, and the ongoing legal battle that continues to grip the state of South Carolina. Along the way, we will delve into the history of the Murdaugh family, tracing its rise to power and the shadowy forces that helped it maintain its grip on the state's political and legal systems. We will also examine the broader context of the Murdaugh case, exploring how it fits into the larger narrative of corruption and abuse of power that has plagued South Carolina for decades. From the state's history of slavery and segregation to its current struggles with poverty, crime, and inequality, we will cover the social, economic, and political factors that have contributed to the Murdaugh family's enduring influence and the challenges faced by those who seek to challenge it. So if you seek to challenge the Murdaughs, you're going to face challenges. It says, ultimately, this book is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and privilege. There always has to be checks and balances. No one person should have all the power or one family. It is I added that, that's commentary. It is a reminder that even those who are entrusted with upholding the law can become its greatest abusers, and that the pursuit of justice is often a messy and complicated process. But it is also a story of resilience and perseverance of ordinary people who refused to be intimidated by those who wielded power over them and who fought tirelessly to expose the truth behind one of South Carolina's darkest secrets. So, sometimes the little people have to come together to fight against the powerful. All right, chapter 2, The Murdaugh Family Legacy, a history of power and privilege in South Carolina. The Murdaugh family's rise to power in South Carolina dates back to the early days of the state's history. In the antebellum era, the family patriarch, Randolph Murdaugh Sr., was a wealthy plantation owner and slaveholder who had close ties to the state's political elite. So if there's any blacks with the name of Murdaugh, I'm sure their family ties back to the Murdaugh's plantation days. It says he used his influence to become a prominent prosecutor, known for his zealous pursuit of justice and his unwavering commitment to the rule of law. After the Civil War, the Murdaugh family adapted to the new realities of the post-Reconstruction era. They remained prominent in local politics, serving as mayors and sheriffs and state legislators. They also shifted their focus to the legal profession, using their connections and influence to build a lucrative law practice that served the needs of the state's wealthiest and most powerful citizens. Throughout the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the Murdaughs were known for their staunch conservatism and their resistance to change. They were conservative and they did not like change. They opposed efforts to expand civil rights for African Americans and other marginalized groups. And they were fiercely protective of their own privilege and status. They did not want to lose that privilege or that status. That's why you saw Alex Murdaugh fight so hard and even murk his own wife and son. He didn't want to lose it. But even as the Murdaughs, powerful and influential families in the state, dominating the legal profession and maintaining close ties to the political establishment. That's why Alex was treated with such high respect and regard, even when he was walking around at the scene of the crime of his son, where he had just murked them. That's commentary. That's not in the book, okay? It was against this backdrop that Alex Murdaugh rose to prominence. The grandson of Randolph Jr. and the son of Randolph Jr., Alex was born into a life of privilege and power. He attended prestigious private schools, graduated from the University of South Carolina, and went on to earn his law degree from the University of Virginia. After law school, Alex returned back down south to South Carolina to work at his family's law firm, where he quickly made a name for himself, guys, as a skilled trial lawyer and a tireless advocate for his clients. He advocated for his clients tirelessly. He also served as a part-time prosecutor in several counties, earning a reputation as a tough and uncompromising enforcer of the law. You know what that means, don't you? It says, despite his success, however, Alex was not immune to the shadowy forces that had long plagued the Murdaugh family. He was accused of using his position to protect clients who were involved in criminal activity. And he was rumored to have connection to some of the state's most notorious criminal organizations. Wonder who those could be. Throughout his career, Alex also struggled with addiction and mental health issues, which only served to exacerbate his problems. He was involved in several high-profile controversies, including a hit-and-run accident that left a man deleted, and he faced criticism for his handling of a wrongful death lawsuit against a local hospital. Despite these challenges, Alex continued to wield significant power and influence in South Carolina. He was widely regarded as one of the state's most talented and successful attorneys, and he was seen as a rising star in the legal profession. Not Alex. But on the night of June 7th, 2021, everything changed, y'all, and we know why. Alex called 911 to report that he had been shot on a remote rural road, and the events that followed would reveal a dark and disturbing web of corruption, deceit, and violence that had been festering for years within the Murdaugh family. As the investigation into the Murdaugh murks unfolded, South Carolina was forced to confront the troubling legacy of the Murdaugh family and their long-standing grip on power in the state. Many began to question how a family with such a history of privilege and influence could continue to operate outside the bounds of the law, and why they were able to evade accountability for so long. After so long, people are going to start questioning, so why are they able to get away with all of this, but everyone else has to go to jail or prison? It says the Murdaugh murks also shed light on the deep-seated problems within the South Carolina legal system, which allowed powerful attorneys like Alex to operate with impunity, often at the expense of justice and the public interest. And I'm going to stop right there on chapter 2. Chapter 3 is titled A Promising Career Cut Short. Let me get some feedback from you guys in the comment section. Let me know if you want me to read the rest of the chapters. There's 10 chapters total. Again, this is called The Murdaugh Murders, Uncovering the Dark Underbelly of Southern Elite. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon.